Okay, welcome back everyone. Not sure what happened with my video there, but we'll just start part 2 right here where we left off. So I don't know if my computer froze or what, but we'll get going right now. This is 100% false information. Voter fraud is real. There is plenty of evidence. You can use Google, you can use any search engine, and this is very easily discoverable information. It is so discoverable that Twitter had to crawfish and remove the warning, remove the fact check from the tweet. It is such an egregious lie that Twitter had to remove the fact check because there's a plethora of information out there. There's so much evidence to the contrary. It's absurd. It's so absurd. And that just tells you this is so political. This is meant to be so divisive. This is an attack. They're telling you without evidence. What planet would you have to be on to believe that? How low does your IQ have to be to think that that's real and that's true? NPR is lying to you. There is tons of evidence. But again, they're hoping you just read the headline of the article. They're hoping that you just read this and assume it's true and it's real. And they're hoping you don't vet this information because it's BS. Without evidence. Get out of town. Do you think now again, I don't agree with everything the president says. I can assure you with that. We can sit down and have that conversation. Maybe I'll make a video just for that. Because there's tons of stuff I disagree with the sitting president about. But I would like to believe before he makes such a strong claim that he's done some sort of homework, or his people or his team or whatever have done some sort of homework into this. And to say that there's no evidence for mail-in ballot fraud is insane. That is pure insanity. And that tells you how crazy this is. This is why we live in the divided states of hypocrisy. Because it's lies. This is not fair and unbiased information. This is propaganda. This is an agenda. This is a narrative. This is a lie. And once it's said, it can't be unsaid. Everybody's heard the expression that you can take a plate out of your cupboard and throw it on the ground and shatter the plate all over the place and now pick it up and try to put it back together. You can't. You can't glue it back together. It'll never be the same because it's already been done. It's already been said. So that's what they're hoping for. They know they're wrong. They know they're wrong, but the plate's already broken. The information's already out there. They're gaining votes by lying to you because they don't have to apologize later. They don't have to be honest. They don't have to tell the truth. Do you understand that these people don't have to tell the truth? They don't have to be fair. They don't have to be unbiased. They don't have to tell the truth. They certainly don't have to tell you, and Bongino, again, shout out to you. They tell you a story, not the story. This is absurd. To think that these people don't have an agenda. They don't care. They don't care. Without evidence. Like I said, my head exploded when I read this article. The plate's already broken because people believe that the sitting president is just, without evidence, just making these absurd, insane, unfounded claims with no basis whatsoever. And there's millions of people out there that now believe that. All the while, Twitter, YouTube, Facebook removes conspiracy theories from their platform. While they allow flat out lies. Not alternative viewpoints. Not a second narrative or a different perspective. Flat out lies. They allow lies, but they don't like alternative viewpoints. Oh, I can't make this up. I can't make this up. We got to get through. It's going to take forever. Oh, man. I need to skip some of this, but in the interest of being fair and clear, and I'm going to read all of it so I don't miss anything, even though I really shouldn't because it's so much time. But both Democratic and Republican states have used voting by mail for years without reports of widespread fraud. Again, false information. People have been jailed, prosecuted for this type of fraud. This information is readily available. I don't need to beat this in the ground. It's true, it's real. Go look for it, go research it. If you're not too lazy, find the time to go look into this. This is very common, okay? And both parties have complained about it. Democrat and Republicans have complained about this. This is not new. Trump lashed out at Twitter, comparing the fact-checking labels to censorship. I don't know how it's not. And accusing the social media giant of stifling conservative voices through the president. Let me start over. Trump lashed out at Twitter, comparing the fact-checking labels to censorship and accusing the social media giant of stifling conservative voices, though the president did not provide any examples to back up his assertion. Again, in my opinion, a sitting president does not have to explain himself. Okay? The people opposing him waste entirely too much of his time as it is. Entirely too much of his time. It's ridiculous how much time he has to spend defending himself from the media and his political opponents. I don't even know how he has time to run the country. He's spending so much time in defense mode. They spend so much time through these nonsense. These people are whining and crying trying to get their new boss fired. That's all it is. These people are whining and crying trying to get their new boss fired because he came in and said no more of this nonsense, no more games, no more robbing, no more stealing, no more looting this country, no more burning this country down from the inside out. You guys are rioting this country. You guys have been in office for decades, and decades, and he's here for a couple of years and they want to blame him for the country's problems. These politicians have been doing this for 30, 40, 50 years, want to blame the guy who's been doing it for 3. It's just insane. It's insane. So he spends so much time trying to keep his job from these vultures and these lunatics. I don't know how he has time to do his job. Because if you are at work and half the people that work for you are doing anything and everything they possibly can to get you fired, how much time do you think you're going to be able to spend on the job doing what you're supposed to be doing? It's going to be hard to be okay at your job. It's going to be really difficult to be good at your job. It's going to be damn near impossible to excel at your job when half your employees are trying to get the new boss fired. Using every political weapon they possibly can, using every channel, using every dollar, not their dollars, our dollars, American dollars, because there is no such thing as government funded. Everything is taxpayer funded. So he's spending every minute of every day trying to keep his job because people are trying to get him fired every day. With lies, by the way. We can get into that more if you'd like. I'm not even close to... I gotta hurry up. Okay. More reading, less commentary. The president did not provide any examples to back up his assertion. Again, he doesn't have time to back up everything he says. He doesn't have time to point. He doesn't have time to do the media's job for them. That's what they're asking for. Well, he didn't point out what he meant or where. He didn't tell us where to find the information. It's not his job. It's the media's job to go. I mean, if the media can't go to Google and say mail-in voter ballot fraud, they need the president to go cite the examples for them. Which, oh, by the way, the press secretary, the president's press secretaries had to do for them recently. The media is basically demanding that the White House do their job for them. They're basically like, hey, just write it down and hand it to us so we can report it. And they're not going to report it, they're going to refute it. So they're begging the White House to do their job so they can refute the information anyway. It's lazy. The president, who often uses Twitter as a megaphone to tout his victories and blast his critics to his more than 80 million followers, said Thursday that if he had the legal authority to do so, he would completely shut down Twitter. Again, they didn't put the quote here. This is them interpreting what he said, because if he said that, they would just quote it, right? They would say, the president said, but the quote below it says, I think I'd be hurting it very badly if we didn't choose to use it anymore. That's the quote. I think we'd be hurting it very badly if we didn't. I think I'd be hurting it very badly if we didn't use it anymore. There's plenty of ego in that. Lots of ego in that, saying I would be hurting the platform if I left the platform. Does that say if I had the legal power to do so, I'd shut them down? No, he's saying, with the big ego, if I left, that would hurt them. That's not a threat to shut them down. That's not saying if I had the legal authority, I'd shut them down. So there's not a quote to support that. Again, this is propaganda. This is agenda. This is narrative. They didn't quote him saying that, but they want you to believe that's what he said. When he really said, if I left them, it'd probably hurt them because they're going to lose people. They're going to lose eyeballs. That hurts every business. That hurts every entity if it loses eyeballs. 80 million people, if 80 million people, and I'm not saying that all those people exclusively use Twitter to follow the president, but if the president started using a different platform, he'd certainly garner followers wherever he went. And if those people got used to a new platform, maybe they would abandon Twitter, and that would hurt them. I think I'd be hurting it very badly if we didn't use it anymore, Trump said from the White House. We have other sites we can use, I guess, or we'd have to develop other sites. That's what he's saying. He doesn't say, if I had the legal authority, I'd shut you down. He's just been saying, hey, if these guys don't want to be fair and unbiased, we will certainly either find something or somebody will build something, because that's what a free market's all about. And that's where Twitter messed up. They got cocky, and they forgot they were in a free market. Here comes a competition, baby. I learned at a young age, don't bite off more than you can chew. Don't let your mouth write checks your ass can't cash. So yeah, Twitter's the top dog right now. Facebook's the top dog right now. YouTube's the top dog right now. Nothing lasts forever. So did Twitter write a check their ass can't cash or what? So here comes Twitter CEO Jack Dorsey said Wednesday that the platform will continue to warn users about factual distortions on it. Will continue to warn users about factual distortions on it. Who? Factual distortions? Who? How is it Twitter is now... I mean, who are they using? Like Snopes? Snopes, again, how if you're still using Snopes as a fact-checking anchor as to legitimacy of truth, I'm sorry. You're, again, wrong side of history. Wrong side of history. Twitter has no idea. No idea what they're getting themselves into whenever they're talking about warning users about factual distortions on it. I can't even begin to understand. I can't even begin to explain how insane it is when a social media platform is saying that somehow, some way, that they're going to be warning people about factual distortions. Twitter's not responsible for facts. That's exactly what the I forget the number. Is it? Oh goodness, I'm not gonna be able to find it here. The section 230. Section 230 of this code that protects social media platforms from litigation for hosting information. That's exactly what he's saying. He's basically saying that We're going to warn users about factual information. You don't have to. It's not your job. It's not your responsibility. So why are you trying to redirect truth? Why are you trying to be the... I can't even find the right word, or the right words, but it's not Twitter, YouTube, Facebook's responsibility. They're not responsible for truth. They're not the end-all be-all for truth. They can't decide for people what is true. They can't decide for people what they want to believe. You're infringing on people's right to believe in whatever they want to believe. There's 3,000 or thousands of religions in the history of mankind. Which one's right? You can't tell people what to believe. Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, you're not allowed to do that. You've been getting away with it, but you're not allowed to tell people what they can and can't believe. You're not allowed to tell people what is and isn't true. You can't define reality for people. Oh man, London Bridge is falling down, man. I can't get enough of this. I'm gonna love watching this dumpster fire. I gotta move on. God, this article is fantastic. I told you I love media, I love politics. I love watching this happen. Okay. Here we go. This is a quote. This does not make us an arbiter of truth, Dorsey wrote on Twitter. This does not make us an arbiter of truth, Dorsey wrote on Twitter. Our intention is to connect the dots of conflicting statements and show the information in dispute so people can judge for themselves. More transparency from us is critical so folks can clearly see the why behind our actions. I'm going to read that again because that's paramount to what this article is about. Again, this is Jack Dorsey, wrote on Twitter, quote, "This does not make us an arbiter of truth." It sounds like that's exactly what you're insinuating here. That you're the arbiter of truth. You're trying to tell people what is true and what's not true. And in defense of your behavior, your words are, our intention is to connect the dots. So you're saying Twitter, our intention is to connect the dots of conflicting statements and show, so basically we're going to vet the information behind closed doors, and then we're going to show you the information in dispute so people can judge for themselves. No, they're not. That's not what's happening. What's actually happening is, behind closed doors, they're telling you openly and publicly that they're letting all the information out there. They're connecting the dots for you and showing you what is real and true and what's not. That's not what's happening. What's happening is they're connecting the dots that they want to connect, and then whatever they don't agree with or whatever they don't believe or whatever Twitter doesn't believe, they're flagging as false information. They're deciding what's real and what's true. Just like when these doctors come out and these lawyers come out and these virologists come out and they post videos and they say, well, nope, not true, scrub it, take it off, not true, scrub it. Who is Jack Dorsey and Twitter to say or be the, they're not the arbiter of truth, but how are they going to say that a doctor with a medical background, medical school, years of experience, years of practicing, years of study, is wrong and taking their video down off their platform? How is that not saying that they're telling you what's true and what's not true? That's a very direct, this is a lie. He's lying. More transparency from us is critical so folks can clearly see the why behind our actions. Yes, I would like to know why they're taking down these videos from doctors and lawyers and virologists. Why are they taking this down? If their intent, again, connect the dots of conflicting statements and show the information in dispute. To show the information, again, they're not showing the information in dispute. They're scrubbing it. They're taking it off. If anything opposes their agenda, if anything opposes what they believe, which again is supposed to be, they're not the arbiter of truth, but anything opposes their belief, they're scrubbing it. But to show the information, which they're not, show the information in dispute so people can judge for themselves. That is an outright lie. Because if that was the case, if anybody posted, again, let's just say there's two sides to a story. Person A posts viewpoint A, person B posts viewpoint B. They're going to connect the dots for you, they're going to decide what's true, and they're going to put a fact check label on one. How is that possible? If you're unbiased and you're letting people connect the dots for themselves, or you didn't say connect the dots for themselves, you're connecting the dots, and then you're going to show the information in dispute so people can judge themselves. Shouldn't both pieces of information have a fact check on it so people can decide for themselves which one is real and which one's not? But that's not what's happening. They're saying this one's real, this one's true, and this one's not. So they're not letting people decide for themselves. They're deciding for you. So they are acting as the arbiters of truth. This is a lie. The Twitter CEO is a liar. Dorsey's comment was an apparent response to Facebook CEO Mark Zuckerberg, who told Fox News earlier Wednesday that social media companies should stay out of the business of weighing in on what is true or not. Quote, private companies probably shouldn't be, especially these platform companies, shouldn't be in the position of doing that, Zuckerberg said. I'm going to read that again. Dorsey's comment was an apparent response to Facebook CEO Mark Zuckerberg, who told Fox News earlier Wednesday that social media companies should stay out of the business of weighing in on what is true or not. Quote, private companies probably shouldn't be, especially these platform companies, shouldn't be in the position of doing that, Zuckerberg said. Okay. I'm going to say it right now. And you can take me off of whatever platform, whatever you want. Mark Zuckerberg is a lying scumbag. He's one of the biggest pieces of trash on this planet. He's an actual trash bag. He's a scumbag. He's a lying maniac. This dude is a lying scumbag. Private companies probably shouldn't be, especially these platform companies, shouldn't be in the position of doing that. Social media companies should stay out of the business of weighing in on what is true or not. Facebook's the biggest offender. Facebook is the biggest offender. Zuckerberg is the biggest offender. Their platform has started this and been doing this. They're the pioneers of this entire movement. Facebook started this. YouTube, obviously Facebook owns Instagram, but YouTube and Twitter are just following Zuck's lead. He's a lying scumbag. Mark Zuckerberg is a scumbag. He's a lying trash bag. But NPR would have you believe that he is on your side. I can't tell you how many personal posts I've had censored on Facebook. I'm in Facebook jail right now for 30 days. Because they're not the arbiters of truth. And these platforms shouldn't get involved in that. Really? You hypocritical piece of trash. I have so much I would love to say to Mark Zuckerberg. This kid needed a booster seat to talk to Congress, man. A booster seat. This guy is a lying scumbag. And I don't care who hears it or who sees this. Mark Zuckerberg is a lying scumbag. This dude's trash. He's a liar. His platform scrubs, deletes, fact checks, whatever you want to call it. This guy says, this is what I mean. He's a two-faced lying scumbag. He says one thing and does another. End of story. End of story. You can't argue it. You can't debate it. And if you don't understand that, I don't want you in my environment. Just go. Just go. You don't get it. You don't get that this guy's a lying scumbag. This guy is complete garbage. Mark Zuckerberg. I don't wish anything bad on anyone ever. But I swear on my soul, I hope nothing good ever happens to you ever again. You are garbage to me. You are a lying, deceitful, criminal scumbag. And I hope you get found out. Because I know I'm not the only one that sees through your BS. Oh man, I'm telling you, when I read this NPR article, my head exploded. Mark Zuckerberg is a lying scumbag. He's a two-faced trash bag. His website and platforms are notorious for squashing, just stifling, which is again a word that the sitting president used. They're stifling people's ability to have an opinion and have beliefs and use a quote-unquote platform, because it's no longer a platform. It's no longer about opinions and allowing people for self-expression. They're trying to control information. So Mark Zuckerberg is a lying scumbag. And this didn't start recently. Look at his story. Go back and look at his story. Read it real carefully. Look at all the people he screwed over. His quote-unquote friends, his business partners. This guy's a trash bag. And his time has come. His time has come. And he deserves everything that's coming his way. Because London Bridge is falling down. And I look forward to watching the dumpster fire because he's a lying scumbag. Private companies probably shouldn't be, especially these platform companies, shouldn't be in the position of doing that. I just can't get over that. Facebook CEO Mark Zuckerberg told Fox News earlier Wednesday that social media companies should stay out of the business of weighing in on what is true or not. Oh man, again, hypocrisy. Again, peddle information over here to the people that'll eat it up and go along with your propaganda and your agenda, and then go on television to this other group of people and say, "Oh no, man, we shouldn't do that. That's not true. I mean, you're trash, dude. You're trash. I can't stand you. Can't stand you." There's so many people in my lifetime that I have found out. Again, they didn't tell me they were a lying scumbag. I had to find out the hard way, but I found out the hard way you're a lying scumbag, and you're lumped and grouped in this whole group of people that I think's a lying scumbag. You can't get out of that. You can't get out of that. Once you look me in the face and lie to me, you're a scumbag. And I've had dozens of people in my lifetime, family members, friends, look me in the face and lie to me. They're immediately put in the scumbag pile. And you can't get out. You can't get out. Once you lie to my face, I can't connect at that point. It's over with. You're a lying, cheating, manipulative scumbag. You'll always be that now. You can't come out of that. You can't come out. You can apologize and say you're sorry. You usually don't, because you're usually narcissistic, lying, you're just egotistical trash bag. So you're not gonna see the fault in your ways. You've been two-faced for so long, you don't understand that that's a problem. You don't see the issue. Well, what do you mean? I don't get it. No, what's the problem? You're a lying, two-faced scumbag. And you'll always be a lying, two-faced scumbag. But I'll pray for you anyway. Oh, man. I mean, I'm telling you, my blood pressure, I probably had a stroke 5 times reading this earlier. Not even close to the end. A Facebook spokesperson added that ending the liability shield for social media companies would make sites responsible for what billions of users around the world say. This would penalize companies that choose to allow controversial speech and encourage platforms to censor anything that may offend anyone, spokesperson Andy Stone said Thursday. Again, this is the exact opposite of what's happening. These platforms are stifling and preventing people from having a belief system and sharing that belief system and sharing what's real with other people, and they're saying that this is going to penalize companies for allowing them to do that. No, it's going to stop them from scrubbing information they disagree with. It does open the door for litigation, absolutely, for them stifling people's ability to share their opinion. And just because this piece of this Section 230 has protected them for this long doesn't make it right. Doesn't make it right. That's what this guy's basically saying. Just because we've been doing it for this long, golly, we've been doing it for 20 years. Well, it must be the right thing to do. Hey, I got bad news for you, homeboy. Slavery was legal. Does that make it right? Okay, so just because these companies have had immunity for so long doesn't mean it's right. The White House order takes aim at a 1996 law passed by Congress that has often been at the center of political fights over regulating speech on social media platforms, Section 230 of the Communications Decency Act. The law protects internet companies from being sued over content that appears on their platforms and allows for content moderation. The removal of a post is left up to the internal rules of companies such as Twitter and Facebook, provided those decisions are made in good faith. So what that's saying is that these companies have immunity to what's on their platform because they can't control what people are uploading, okay? That's a given. We're not expecting them to control what's uploaded. It's impossible when you have hundreds of thousands of millions of users. But in good faith means they're doing their very best and in good faith making an effort to prevent people from being harmed. And what that means is they're not allowing people to upload child pornography and upload, or post sex trafficking ads or human trafficking ads, or they're making a good faith effort to stop crime. To stop crime. Not censor beliefs, not censor opinions. It's not Twitter and Facebook and YouTube's responsibility to be the arbiter of truth. Their job is to make sure people aren't being trafficked, children aren't being hurt, people aren't promoting violence and hate. It's absurd that these people should be given immunity to stifle people's beliefs and their belief systems and their freedom of speech and their freedom of religion, their freedom of communication. You can't hide behind this act forever. And the fact that this was 1996, this is pre-2000, okay? Pre-2000, we know the internet boom. So you're basically saying that prior to us knowing what was going to happen with the internet over the course of 25 years, a law that was written prior to it expanding and exploding at an exponential rate that's beyond people's comprehension, that 25 years later we revisit this piece of, I can't want to call it legislation, but it's an act. We need to revisit this act and say, hey, are we doing the right thing here? Can we modify this to fit what's actually happening in today's time? And they're saying, no, we wrote it back in 1996. This needs to be what it is, and we're going to stick with it. Horseshit. We need to revisit this. This is serious. If these people are hiding behind this legislation to use their platform as a political weapon, this needs to be revisited. The law protects internet companies from being sued over content that appears on their platforms and allows for content moderation. The removal of a post is left up to the internal rules of companies such as Twitter and Facebook, provided those decisions are made in good faith. Sorry, I already read that, but in good faith, to do the right thing. Not to tell people what to believe, not to force your political beliefs, or not to guide information in a certain direction, to in good faith not let people get trafficked, to not let children and human beings be exploited, to not let people sell illicit drugs and sell illegal firearms or whatever, to in good faith make an effort to not let crime be committed. It's very simple. It's not anything outside of that. So to say that this lends them immunity to anything and everything, they're just allowed to decide what gets uploaded, that's not what Section 230 is about. Section 230 is to protect them from criminal litigation for things that are found on their website that's beyond their knowledge or beyond their scope of being able to, in good faith, make an effort to remove it. I understand that. They should have immunity to that. But to say that we can't amend this act to make it better and not make it all-encompassing, which means basically that they're just immune to all litigation and all civil and criminal litigation, just blanketly say that doesn't matter what there is or isn't on their platform, that nobody can sue them, that is nonsense. I own a business, and I shouldn't have any piece of legislation or no act that says that I can't have litigation brought against me for wrongdoing. And any American or anybody in their right mind that thinks that that's okay, that any company should have just blanket immunity, or any person should have blanket immunity from any sort of litigation and not be responsible for something that they make hundreds of billions of dollars off of, hundreds, millions, and billions of dollars off, and to say that they have no responsibility about it and no responsibility for litigation of something they make so much profit off of is nonsense. Courts have repeatedly upheld the law in favor of technology companies, even when the statute was used to defend websites advertising children who were forced into sex trafficking. In 2018, Congress amended Section 230 to... So here we go. In 2018, Congress amended Section 230 to hold websites legally responsible for promoting prostitution or victims of sex trafficking. So, two very important things to say right there. A, courts have repeatedly upheld the law in favor of technology companies. That means that there is grounds for these companies to be protected from things that they can that are beyond their control, which I agree with. There's things that are beyond their control. And two, there's also precedent for Congress in 2018 to amend this when necessary. And that's what's happening here. That's what the president is starting the ball rolling on. There needs to be another amendment to this. There's new information that's come to light. And the 1996 information we work with has changed drastically over 24 years. So we need to amend this again. So there's two very important takeaways right there. And again, it's amended to hold websites legally responsible for promoting prostitution and sex trafficking. It's very simple. Trump's order seeks to chip away at the vast legal protection Silicon Valley has long fought to preserve by offering a new interpretation of the law. The order argues, in essence, that if the social media companies restrict certain voices of their platforms, the companies should be stripped of their legal immunity, opening the doors to a wave of lawsuits over content seen as defamatory. Very important information there. Trump's order seeks to chip away the vast legal protection Silicon Valley has long fought to preserve by offering new interpretation of the law. The order argues, in essence, that if the social media companies restrict certain voices of on their platforms, the companies should be stripped of their legal immunity, opening the doors to a wave of lawsuits over content seen as defamatory. Please read between the lines right there. Opening the doors to a wave of lawsuits over content seen as defamatory. Should a doctor that posts a video on Facebook with his professional medical opinion be taken from the internet? My opinion is no, and I believe that is defaming him, that is discrediting him, and that him or her, sorry, I'm using him, that is and I'm using that because there's a very vivid example in my mind of a video that I've seen. That is defaming him. It's discrediting his profession, discrediting his studies. It discredits his profession. It discredits his education, his practice, his experience, his what's the word I'm looking for? Data. The data he's collected over all his years of experience and what he's particularly going through. So I believe that if that doctor is being defamed and discredited by a social media platform that's meant to be unbiased and allow people to post their opinions and their beliefs and their facts, because this doctor has facts and data based on his medical opinion and his medical experience and his data, he has the right to disseminate that to his friends and family and the public. He has a right to do that. And I don't believe that a social media platform that's supposed to be unbiased has a right to take that down. And I believe that Section 230 should not protect these social media platforms from litigation. These attorneys and these lawyers and these virologists and these doctors have a right to seek damages for being defamed by these platforms. So they're saying The very thing that's happening. They're defaming these people. I believe they have a right to seek litigation against these platforms. That's my belief. You can have a different belief. You're allowed to have that. But again, Facebook and Twitter are not the arbiters of truth. They shouldn't be allowed to decide. They shouldn't be allowed to discredit this doctor and defame him. How is it that YouTube and Twitter and Facebook, Zuck and Dorsey, and I'm pretty confident on this, and fact check me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty confident that in the U.S. Code of Ethics, it is against the law for a doctor to discredit or go against or call out another doctor for his practice, even if his practice causes or does harm to another human being. So if a doctor harms harms a patient, another doctor can't even call him out. So how is it Facebook and YouTube can? So if someone in your own profession, under the United States Code of Ethics, can't call you out for hurting a human being, how is it can Facebook and Twitter and YouTube scrub and defame this person? So if you can't be defamed by someone in your own profession with medical experience, how can you be defamed by a Silicon Valley social media platform designer? What are we talking about here? I mean, you read between the lines, people. Open the doors to a wave of lawsuits over content seen as defamatory. It's the exact opposite. It's the exact opposite. Opening the doors to a wave of lawsuits over content seen as defamatory. So what NPR would have you believe is that people are going to post defamatory things, and now Facebook's going to get sued over that. That's not what's happening right now. That's the exact opposite of what's happening right now. What's actually happening is Facebook is defaming people, and the president is trying to open the door for these people to litigate against these platforms for defaming them. Do you understand what NPR is doing here? They're shifting the narrative, they're deflecting the blame, they're trying to get you to believe the opposite of what's happening. They're saying, oh my goodness, the President of the United States is opening this door for Facebook and YouTube and Twitter to be litigated against for what people post on their websites and on their platforms. That's not what's happening. What they're trying to do is write in this Section 230 to allow people that have already been defamed or will be defamed in the future their ability to litigate against these people that are silencing them and defaming them. So do you see what NPR is doing here? They're lying to you. They're shifting and twisting and manipulating the narrative because they want you to believe the opposite is true. This is insane. Open the doors to have a wave of lawsuits over content seen as defamatory. That is crazy. This is going to be the longest video ever. I can't even get through all this nonsense. I'm gonna stop it here and start another one because I didn't realize how long this is getting. I still have a lot of article to get to. So catch y'all on the flip side.